Hello friends or hello family friends and Mayurvi. The reason I'm making this video is because I haven't been able to explain what my ambitions and objectives in life are. Basically because I cannot explain them without some sort of visual depiction. That is the reason why I'm making this video and I'm uploading this to YouTube. In the famous sitcom of Sherlock Holmes, the protagonist once says, the best way to hide something is to hide it in plain sight. That is the reason why I'm uploading it to YouTube. Since I'm an unpopular YouTuber, no one's going to look at it, but it's freely available for everyone to see. So let's just jump right into it. The dreams of the far future, or rather, my dreams of the far future. Before I get into this, let me show you a photo. This is the photo of a family in Bihar that committed suicide because of extreme poverty. They did not have anything to eat. Look at how thin they are. They had nothing to eat. That's the reason they committed suicide en masse. Now, what is the root cause of this poverty? No, or rather, what is the root cause of all of this suffering? The root cause is the lack of money. I want to know how we can solve this so that no one will ever commit such things en masse. No one should ever commit suicide en masse. So, how to achieve that? Well, the answer is pretty straightforward. We must create an economically more equal society. But how do we achieve that? Now, achieving that is actually a straightforward answer. It's straightforward because it's impossible to achieve. I'll get into why it's impossible. Now, it can be solved by the creation of a digital economy and the existence of only digital currency. Now, consider this. If only digital currency exists in a nation and all transactions are supposed to happen using digital currency, then if you are a poor person, the amount of money you earn per year will all be recorded in the national database. And hence, a nation can immediately identify a poor person and then start to enroll welfare schemes to help them out such that they don't die like this. It's because of our lack of tools that we aren't able to help them. It's not that we don't have money, we do have money because we spend so much on infrastructure, on building the tallest statue in the world. It's not that we don't have money, we do have money. It's just that we lack the tools to identify such people. But by creation of a digital economy and ensuring only digital currency exists, we can ensure that such things are identified quickly with our advanced tools and help them out. Now, there's an added advantage to creating a digital economy and creation of only digital currency, and that is the complete and total eradication of corruption. Now, in this picture, I have depicted the corruption index throughout the world. Now, the ones in green are those with the least corruption, and the ones in red or red are the ones with the highest corruption, and the ones that are in orange or yellow or so on are somewhere in between a lot of corruption and very little corruption. They're somewhere in the middle of it, and that is where India is. Now, consider a scenario where a politician or a bureaucrat or someone is trying to get money, a bribe basically. But however, in a complete and total digital economy, a digital currency must go from one bank account to another. So, as soon as an unaccounted money comes into the bank account, the IT department can knock on their doors and ask them how they got this money. And due to the convenience of easily catching hold of those who get money in a what you call unfair means, we can easily end corruption in any nation. Now, the problems in the creation of a digital economy, you see, the transactions through online are very, very insecure. They can easily be hacked. This is the reason that in mobile banking transactions it gets capped out at 2 lakh rupees or 200,000 rupees, and for UPI based transactions like Phone Pay, Google Pay, etc., it gets capped out at 50,000 rupees. The reason for this is just hacking. So let's say we create a digital economy right here, right now. What's the problem? Well, a corrupt politician can simply hire a hacker and show that he has no money, whilst at the same time he can have lots of money. This is a huge problem and completely defeats the purpose of creating a digital economy. And also, some poor people may fake to be poor. Like, let's say some people want all the benefits of poor people, but they aren't poor itself. So they may hire hackers itself. A hacking company may itself get open to scam the government. So due to all these reasons, it is just not safe to create a digital economy with our current technology. So, if we want to achieve what we want, we must create an unhackable system. No one should ever be able to hack it. If we create that, then we can easily create a digital economy, and from the digital economy, we can end poverty, hunger, and even corruption. But how do we create this unhackable system? Well, there is an answer for that as well: quantum computers. Now, quantum computers can easily ensure that nothing gets hacked, and hence, if we simply create quantum computers, we can ensure that all of these problems get solved and we can create a digital economy. But there is a problem in the creation of quantum computers itself. Quantum computers is mainly based upon the principle of quantum mechanics, and no one really understands quantum mechanics, and that is the reason why we haven't been able to successfully manufacture a quantum computer. So our problem statement has now become very simple: create and build a quantum computer and you solve world poverty, world hunger, and corruption. But in order to do that, we need to first understand quantum mechanics. Now, how are we supposed to do that? Now, I have a theory based on how we can understand quantum mechanics. This is an hypothesis and I don't know if I'm correct or not, but I want to dedicate my entire life for this course. And if I fail, well, I accept my failure gracefully, but that's another matter. Now, let's first look into my theory and what I actually want to achieve. Now, this is a photon. This entire thing has an energy equivalent to h nu, E is equal to h nu. Now, this also has an electric field and a magnetic field. I have represented the electric field in blue and the magnetic field in green. This is in the positive y axis and this is in the positive z axis. But I've made a small change in the theory of the model of a photon. That is, the change that I have made is, I am saying that photon pushes the space around it backward, or rather the space around it expands in a singular direction of x-axis, and this makes the photon to appear to move forward. Now consider this. Let's say that you have an inflated balloon and you put a single dot on it. Now you start to blow air in that balloon, and as the balloon expands, it appears that the single dot is also coming closer to you. But has the dot moved? No, it has not moved. Then what is actually moving? Everything around the dot, that is the balloon itself, has expanded, and this is what makes the dot on the inflated balloon appear to move forward. Now this is exactly what is happening for a photon as well, or rather this is my hypothesis. I am saying that this photon is expanding space in a singular direction, and this is in turn making the photon appear to move forward. For understanding purposes, let us just say that the photon is pushing the space backward and thereby it is moving forward. Now here is a video description as to how that is actually happening. Please view it. Let us say the fingers are the photons itself, and that the water is space. Now the photons are simply moving from one place to another, just as I have depicted here. Now let us see the other phenomenons of light can also be explained with this model or not. Now see, this is just a particle of photon, so of course reflection, refraction, etc. can all be done. But let us look into another advanced phenomenon called as the diffraction and interference of light that we had learnt in 11th or 12th standard of our education. Now the interference and diffraction of light was first explained by Young with his double slit experiment. Now what Young says is pretty much the same thing that I'm saying. What he says is light distorts the space around it. At the time of Young, space was just called as ether. They say that ether is the entire empty space is filled with ether, and light simply distorts it, and this distortion is shown in these lines, through these lines. See here, I've depicted it like this, as it's yeah, like that. But Young simply said these are the way that ether is getting disrupted, and then it's moving forward, just as what I am saying here. Now, when light comes to this small slits, these distortions get interrupted, and they start to curve in this way, in this semicircle manners, and later they show an interference pattern in this optical screen. This is the Young's double slit experiment, and thus we have pretty much explained all the phenomena of light: reflection, refraction, diffraction, and interference using this new model. And what I'm doing is not exactly anything new. It was already told by Young. I'm just modified it. See, Young did not say that this photon particle had an electric and magnetic wave associated along with it. All he said was there was light, imagine a round color thing, something like this, and that is distorting the ether around here, and it was moving forward, and it in turn caused these patterns when it encountered a slit, and thereby an interference was being shown on the optical screen. Since we have found out that a photon also has an electrical part and a magnetic part, I have modified it a bit. There isn't a lot of difference between what I'm saying and what Young had done, so I don't see why I can be severely wrong or completely wrong in this. And this again, the description of how light is moving, considering the water is space, and my fingertips are the photon particles. Now, using this, let us try to rederive the famous equation E is equal to mc square. Now, before we jump into the derivation, let us look at some basics. Now, this is a circle. A circle is said to have infinitely many tangents. Tangents means dispart. You see this one, that's spike type things that are extending from the circle. These are called tangents. Now, what are these tangents? Tangent means very simple. This is the center of a circle. You draw a radius to this point, and then when you draw something in 90 degrees to that radius, it becomes the tangent. Can you imagine that? Here is the center of the circle. I draw a radius here, and according to 90 degrees of it, the line comes up. This is what is called as a tangent. And the thing is, we can draw infinitely many radiuses from the center of the circle. Because of this, we can create infinitely many number of tangents. This is one basic thing that has to be remembered. Secondly, now let us take the area of two-dimensional polygons. Now let us take a triangle and consider its height is equal to breadth. Then its area will be equal to half into L into breadth, but we are saying both its height and breadth are equal, so it will become half into L into L, which means half into L square. Now let us take the area of a square with side L. Then the area A will be equal to L square, or we can write it as 1 into L square. Now let's take a circle with the radius of it being equal to L. The radius from the center to here, let us say that it is L, and let us say what the area is. The area A is equal to pi into L square. Are you observing what is common in all of these things? Yes, it is L square. So basically this is a property of the two-dimensional polygons. All of them will be equal to some constant multiplied by the square of its length. These are the two basic things that has to be remembered. Now let us look at how exactly we can rederive E equals mc square using just these two basic ideas. Now let us say that we have a photon that is pushing away space and is coming like this here, and then there is another photon that is coming like this, and another one, and another one, and another one. What is happening is it is creating a whirlpool in space, and the light which should have always been moving forward and in a straight line is in turn now going to get transformed into a circle. I have depicted this in this video. Let us say the fingertip is the photon and the water is the space. Now as everything comes together in a shape of a circle, it's going to keep on spinning. Now this is exactly what I've depicted. Now what is going to be the energy of this newly formed particle or whatever? Now the energy is going to be composed of all the areas. The energy is not going to just stay in this circumference, because it has it's composed of all of these electrical and magnetic things. It's going to just spread out completely over the entire range of it. So we must figure out the length of it and then square it, and then there's going to be some constant of it. So if we just find out the area of it, it's going to be equivalent to its energy. Now according to scientists, this is how a particle is going to be. It's going to create this whole whirlpool thing, just as I had depicted in this video. Now what is the radius from here to this point? Well, it's just so happens that since the photons are pushing away space at the rate of c, the end of that circle is also going to be c times from its center. So the energy is going to be some constant into c square, because c is the total length that it's going to get occupied. See, this is the center of the circle, or the polygon rather. And then it's since each of the photons are pushing away space, it's the shape of the polygon is going to extend towards infinity almost, and hence from the center it's going to be at the length of c, and the complete area of it is the energy of the particle that is created, and hence the total energy that is going to be encapsulated in the particle is going to be E is equal to some constant into radius squared. Now we know, we have mathematically calculated that the constant is equal to the mass m, and we know that the radius is also equal to c. So therefore E is equal to mc square. However, this is very trivial, and I must mathematically derive it and prove it properly. And from what I understand, I can only know how to do it if I do a PhD in it. So I must do a PhD in it. Now what is the relation between quantum mechanics and the rederivation of E equals mc square? They are related. Let me explain. Yeah, the benefits of this approach. Now just as I told in the Young's double slit experiment, a single light is going to come in, it's distorting space, and then when it goes through a slit, that wave is going to get distorted by the slit, and it's going to form this what you call curve of the distortion, and they are going to appear on the optical screen. Now whenever we place an electron or a photon, it's going to give the same result. So how is this possible? It is possible because of this. Now I told you that light also distorts the space around it and creates a wave here like this. Now I am telling you, from this a particle is going to get created, and that too is going to create a distortion like this. Although this is circular for particles, and it was linear for that of photons, I mean light, it was linear, and for this is circular, it is still some sort of a wave that is getting distorted. And what am I seeing here? A photon comes here, it goes through the slit and it gets curved, and then we see a interference pattern on the optical screen. Now what do we have here? We have an electron. What will an electron be doing? Electron will also have this kind of space waves, gravitational waves to be precise or technically correct. And what are these going to do? These are going to get distorted by the slit, and they are going to get curved, and they are going to get shown in the interference pattern on the optical screen. This is the famous quantum mechanics interference problem. A particle like electron or a proton or even a neutron is going to behave like a wave, but we know that they are actual particles and they cannot behave like a wave. Physicists have been stuck at this problem for 100 years. Let that sink in. 100 years. Then how can they solve it? Well, I just solved it right here. This is the main reason why I feel that I am correct. I just answered a question that has haunted physics for 100 years, and I just gave it to everyone else. This is why I feel that I can finally solve quantum mechanics, and thereby I can build a quantum computer, and thereby I can solve world hunger, poverty, and eradicate corruption. Now, why I believe I am correct? Well, first and foremost, it's because I've solved quantum mechanics. I mean, I think I'm correct, but I'm yet to prove myself. If I do a PhD based on this subject, and I'm able to publish it, whatever I have done, then it means that I'm undoubtedly correct. Then I can build a quantum computer. But secondly, there are other reasons as well. Apart from answering the fundamental question about quantum mechanics, I can also answer other fundamental questions. Those are, why are there only two kinds of charges? Like, why is there only positive and negative charge? Why is there not a third kind of charge? Let's call it banana charge or apple charge. Why doesn't such a charge exist? Why doesn't magnetic monopoles exist? Magnetic monopoles means, let us take a magnet. It will have a north pole and a south pole. You cut the magnet, then you will get, then we'll be assuming that there will be a north pole is divided and the south pole is divided. But no, we are wrong. In each of the two newly cut magnets, each one will have its own separate north pole and a separate south pole. No matter how many times we cut the magnet and we go to the level of an atom, even then we are not going to be able to separate the north pole and the south pole. It's always going to be dual. So why is it always dual? I can answer that as well. I am just not doing that in this PPT. This is what is boosting my confidence, and I want to pursue this for my whole life, irrespective of whether I am going to fail or succeed. I want to do this. Now, roadmap to accomplish my objectives. First, I must get a PhD in physics, and I must mathematically prove to myself that my hypothesis is correct. Basically, if whatever I have told you in this PPT, if I am able to derive it mathematically, then it means that I am undoubtedly correct, and I can go ahead and build a quantum computer. Now, if I fail towards this end, it means I cannot build a quantum computer, and I should abandon my objectives and gracefully accept my failures. But there's a problem in this. How can I pursue a PhD in physics when I have done a engineer's degree, a bachelor's degree in computer science? Secondly, let's say that somehow I did a PhD in physics, but if I want to start to build my own quantum computers, I'm going to need at least 10 crore rupees. Where am I going to get this 10 crore rupees? I'm a middle class individual. Solution: in foreign nations, individuals without a bachelor's degree or a master's degree in physics are allowed to do a PhD in physics. So I must go to a foreign nation that allows me to pursue a PhD in physics, although I don't have a bachelor's degree or a master's degree in physics. Now, the second problem, I want 10 crore rupees. Where am I supposed to get it? Now, let us say that I go to an abroad nation. Let's say I go to USA at the year 2024 for a MS in computer science. Well, it doesn't really matter because there are foreign nations that do offer PhD in physics, although I haven't done a master's in physics exclusively. So let me pursue an MS in computer science. And let's say after 2 years in the year 2026 that I start to earn. And now, let's say given that $1 is equal to 80 rupees in the exchange rates, and let's say that I earn for 5 to 6 years, then I must be able to save about $350,000, which is approximately equal to 3 crore rupees. Now, with this 3 crore rupees, let us say I buy a luxury 3 BHK apartment or a 40-60 site. Eventually, the real estate prices are going to go up and it will become 10 crore rupees. Then I will simply sell that asset and invest it into building a quantum computer. Now, after 5 to 6 years, let's say at the year of 2032, I am able to amass 3 crore rupees. I just bought some 3 BHK luxury apartment or a 40-60 set, and then I go into pursuing a PhD degree. If I succeed over there, eventually I am going to get the 10 crore rupees as well. So using this, I hope to build a quantum computer. This is my objectives in life. Thank you for watching.